Hey guys, welcome back to Chat with Charlie. For a special guest today, I think when this comes out, it's probably coming out within the next week or so. So this is SZWÉ. He's got a new project on the way. He's an amazing rapper, amazing singer as well. So say hello to everyone, SZWÉ.
Hey everyone, it's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be with you, man. A pleasure to finally actually, get to talk to you and go through the album a bit and just talk music in general. Look forward to it.
Because I'm not sure actually how I sort of discovered you or came across you, but yeah, I can't remember. It always seems like I've been here. We were saying before, like today when we're recording this, which is the 23rd of July. I've been in Wales for 3 years now, part of the music scene. But SZWÉ is he's one of the guys that I've always enjoyed his output. Every time there's a new track, I'm thinking, yeah, this is cool. Right, and also. I'm sure you can comment on this as well. We were talking before. I feel like a lot of the artists here, especially, they don't really have that much of an output. That's not a send or anything. That's just what I realise. So it's good to have that work ethic. So
yeah, no, definitely, I agree with you. I think I've been saying for the longest time, when it comes to music, like whether you can write a song or a verse, that's one thing. But being an artist is a whole different level. Like you've got essentially a momentum to keep building, and if you stop for a second, that could be like the second you fall off. Do you know what I'm saying? So I've been putting out music now like solidly for about like 3 years, and that only means I'm at the start of my career. Do you know what I'm saying? I started when I was 18. I started when I was 18 writing songs. Started recording properly when I was 20 and releasing them frequently, and by the age of 23, I've got like 55, 56 tracks out, and the only thing that's done is just add that little bit of weight to my name, almost like people know me a little bit more. And even if I do well in Wales, if I don't do well in Wales, there's like when I'm looking at the demographics of people listening, it's a wider outreach just because I'm pumping it, I'm pushing all the music out, all the social stuff. Like that's what it's about. Yeah, like you're saying, frequency is important, and scene at the moment doesn't have a lot of it, but you've got to bring the best out of people sometimes by doing yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Again, I know it's been difficult with the pandemic for a lot of people, because I take it you've got a setup at your home, don't you, to record?
Yeah, I've always had a setup at home. That's the way I look at it. Is I've always had my laptop, my microphone, and a sock. That's all you need, and anything after that is just a bonus, basically, to make your music better. And yeah, from my time in uni, I just used to use a sock over my mic or a shoebox around my mic, stuff it with clothes, and it gives you that studio sound. Like, you don't really need much, but yeah, setup at home is a must need for everyone.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Yeah, so when it actually comes to this project itself, so all of that's been recorded at home, I take it then as well.
Yeah, every single word, every single aspect of it.
Yeah, that's sick. So I'll just have a quick look right now, because just to remind me, when is the project coming out?
Project is out on the 28th of July. That's next Wednesday.
Cool. So actually,
it's got to be eligible.
It will probably.
Yeah, it's got to be eligible for the Welsh Music Prize. So yeah,
it probably will be out by the time this comes out then, because this is coming out on the Thursday. So
that's all good.
Yeah, so chances, what I'm saying now, I'll actually look to the camera and say this. Make sure you've already heard it. If you're not, pause it right now and we're going to go back. So it's called, one sec, I've got it here. I've just got the Google Drive up because I was lucky enough to get an early listen. So the glorious, I can see it says The Glorious Life of, one sec.
Glorious Life of Being Misunderstood.
Glorious Life of Being Misunderstood, cool. Because I like that as well. Like when it comes off, there was a proper intro track. And like there's a lot of times I listen to projects and it doesn't really start with an intro or like an introduction, which is sometimes good. But I always remember there was like an interview with Common, and he says he always likes to start his projects with a sort of prayer in a sense. So it's like whether it's just like a guitar solo or it's like more of a spoken word piece. And I feel like obviously having that intro, it really sort of brings you into the world of SZWÉ, which is great.
That's literally the idea, because originally this was going to be SZWÉ Part 2. I released Part 1 when I was in uni, and that was like entirely self-produced, entirely like done by me kind of thing. And I don't know, I looked at this album and I was like, I need to do it in a way that would have been pretty much sort of like kind of what SZWÉ Part 2 would have been like. And I'm a firm believer in intro and an outro. like once you've got those in your album, you're kind of like, it's almost like you're taking the listener through something. Like they'll be able to pick up on the reoccurring themes a little bit more. They'll be able to pick up on the wordplay a little bit more. You know, that's what it's all about. The intro is the most important part. You gotta put your best foot forward.
Yeah, so it's good to have that sort of story throughout as well, which is always good. I mean, like I was saying before, Unapologetic was probably the first track that like really stood out to me. Like, obviously, big ups on that one. That's like deep. I mean, obviously, that was touching on topics like Breonna Taylor, all the sort of. Unfortunately, it seems to be more and more these days the police brutality that we've had in South Wales and the South Wales Police Force, which is it's always sad to see. But I think it is good to, I mean, no pun intended, to be so unapologetic with it and sort of put it at the forefront. I mean, if there's any more explaining you want to do on that, then please do.
Yeah, I mean, this entire album was kind of inspired by that. You know, on March 19th, I went through my own issue with the police, South Wales Police, and you know, I had a mental health crisis, and instead of helping me, they worsened the situation, you know, and ultimately just it left me with like a really bad taste in my mouth. And there was no way else I could deal with it. You know, as a musician, as any sort of creator will know, like when things affect you, it just motivates you even more to create, and it's impossible to stop sometimes. And that's what this one was about. Literally the next day, probably the next morning, I recorded Unapologetic, and I just sprayed it, and it was, I don't know, man. Like I had a couple of verses already thought of, because this is for a project as well. I had to do this for a project, days ahead, and the deadline was like the day after that.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I just thought, you know what, fuck it. Like I've got one verse that was the first verse, "Welcome to a World Divided," and then the second verse, I was like, you know what, like this one I've got to write fresh, got to get it clean, delivered, and yeah, just talk about exactly what's important to me and what's bothering me about like the kind of like crisis we're in. And then the third verse is just like straight up just pure emotion kind of thing, what I was feeling. Like there's this kind of thread in my life, I feel, where I just don't know if I belong in a place. Like I don't really feel like I belong in a town in Wales at the moment, but in that instance, after that thing happened, I felt like I didn't know who I was as a black man in Britain. And that was like the first thing that made me really aware of exactly what I was in Britain. And yeah, I just thought, you know what, like, as a matter of fact, I am unapologetically black. And it's always going to be that way until things are like level, until things are equal for us, and like we get the respect we deserve. Because if we don't get that, then unfortunately all these things that they say we are that's so bad about us is all you're going to get. Like that's just how it is. You play into a stereotype.
Yeah. No, it's, you know, it's always sad to see. I mean, you know, I'm a white man myself, and you know, I've got a lot of friends, family, you know, just people I know who, you know, are, you know, people of color, and it's always such a it's so sad to see. And I understand myself, you know, I do have a certain privilege. You know, there might be people here who are listening right now and go no, but it's like, it's just about sitting back and listening. You know, listening to the stories, and it's like, you know, people's experiences and how, you know, how they view the world, and, you know, put yourself in the shoes of people. Because funny enough, I do remember when everything was happening last year, there was actually a small group chat made for us to do like a Black Lives Matter project, and I remember The Honest Poet was on it. I was on it as a producer, and, you know, I made a few beats, but it never really took off, which I thought was kind of sad. And also, interestingly, I think the majority of the people on that group weren't people of colour, which is, I suppose, a good thing, but showing that, you know, the support's there. But it was also kind of sad to see that it wasn't really followed through. I mean, I made a track myself that was released on, I think it was in July last year, and that was an idea about how, like, you know, I think one of the lines I mentioned, how in Forbes, there's, you know, it's mainly white people. I think, you know, the top, but yeah, man. I'm sorry to hear that, especially, you know, somebody suffers with mental health as well. When you're at a low point, to have that, it's just.
I mean, I appreciate that, obviously, but you know, it's the way I look at it. at it now is I take a leaf out of Kanye's book kind of thing. It is my superpower to some degree. There are moments in having depression and anxiety that you think to yourself, like, you're worthless and everything's against you. But like, by doing what I'm doing right now, just like creating music and seeing how people react to it and seeing how it moves and affects people, it gives a whole new meaning to life that like depression and anxiety can't grab a hold of. And you know, my creativity from it has only blossomed. You know, I'm able to talk about a lot of things and speak openly on a track, and people will receive that well. And you know, it's not, they don't, you know, make it like a bad thing or make me feel bad for feeling that way. And yeah, it's just it's helped a lot. So I talk about mental health a lot in the album, purely because, you know, fucking suffering with depression and anxiety is the worst, man, especially when, I don't know if you feel the same way as well, because I know you've had mental health issues before, and as a man, it's kind of difficult to navigate those feelings, if that makes sense. Like, nobody's ever made it like a possible idea in your head that you could feel that way. And when you start realizing that it is possible for you to feel that way, it kind of fucking like sends you into turmoil, into this weird like spin, like downward spiral. And yeah, like coming out with like depression and anxiety and openly talking about it these days is a lot easier for me because of music. When I did my first therapy session, I mean the first and only one at the moment, but when I did that session, it kind of it opened up this whole new thing for me of talking about it. You know, I'd never opened up to everyone that I was suicidal or that I tried to commit suicide, and that was something that really, it was like a massive weight coming off my chest almost when I recorded that and when I released it, and people reacted that way to it. I didn't want to put it on Spotify or Apple Music because I didn't want to earn money from it, and I don't. Talking about this kind of thing and doing it in this way that I am is sort of to encourage other people to start doing it too. Like, we don't have to monetize our social justice that we're doing in the world, basically. I don't want to attach the value to this message that I'm trying to spread. Like, there's no cost to talking about this. It's free of fucking charge. And 100%. If it empowers the next young man to talk about his feelings on his track and get that open and let his mates know how he feels, then I'll do it for free every day of my life if I have to. Like, if that's what people ask me to do every day, I would. Yeah, no,
I totally feel that. You know, I'm someone who suffers with anxiety myself, and it's not just mental health issues, because, you know, for me that's something that's quite, some people just don't understand it. Like, you know, there'll be maybe something that'll trigger my anxiety, and then I just won't be able, the way it affects me is like I won't be able to eat, and I'll feel sick, and, you know, I become quite secluded, you know. And it's like, people are just like, well, just you know, another term, man up's used quite a lot, but it's almost like just snap out of it. And it's like, I just can't, that's just the way I am. You know, if I'm in such a mental state, like I meditate every morning to help that, but even that, like mindfulness and stuff, it helps a certain amount. But it's like, if that's an issue that I can't sort of express, you know, and trying to explain that to people and how I feel, I just feel, you know, with music it is easier to do. But then, like, other issues in my life as well, like, I'm not going to pretend a guy out here with the most friends, or, you know, I get all the girls or something like that. But if, like, I put a song out called Mention the J, and that was about how, you know, people see me and they know Charlie J, you know, they come into my shop at work, they're like, yo, Charlie, whatever, might be rapping my songs, but it's like, who knows me for me? And like, okay, not everybody's a rapper, not everybody's an artist, whatever, but people do feel the same. Like, I have a line that's, I've never been in love, and other than my mum's see, I question all my friends, like, do they really love me? And it's the idea that, like, you know, do people that you're around love you? And I had so many people message me after that. Like, no lie, I had people calling me and all sorts.
I'm in the exact same boat. In the therapy sessions, I said, what did I say? I think I said, I'll find the lyrics now. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, it's
this is why I hate recording, bro. I've recorded so many tracks trying to make this album that, like, I can't even remember a song I released 2 months ago. I can't even.
Yeah, man.
You know.
But that's the way it goes when you got so much music. I remember one of the times I was just scrolling through my computer and I found like 4 or 5 tracks that I forgot I recorded. I'm like, yo, and like 1 or 2 of them are actually really decent as well. But I sent them off to be. Oh, go on then.
Yeah. Okay, so in therapy sessions, I literally say, because lately all I do is try to move forward the pen, ain't got the courage to speak up, think I need better friends. And like, when I said it, when I wrote it down at first, I was like, oh yeah, hard bar, that makes sense. Yeah. But then when I started deep in what I wrote, I was like, hang on a sec, like, that's probably the truest thing I've written to me. Like, that's literally saying, like, maybe the problem isn't that I can't open up about it. Maybe it's just that I haven't found the right people to open up to. And it's a really weird way, like, it just flipped the way that I started thinking about who my friends are and who I'm speaking to about this. And then I realized, you know what? Like, friends will understand at the end of the day, regardless of who they are. They could be the bestest of friends or the worst of friends, but either way, they'll understand the issue. Some might be supportive, some might be unsupportive, but they'll still understand at the end of the day. So, yeah, I just stopped looking at it as it's a me problem that I can't open up and that I can't talk about it, because if I'm putting it in my music now and nothing's still working and they're not still checking up on me or making sure I'm okay or whatever, then do they really care at all? No, and that's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, it's kind of scary though, because like you know, especially when it comes to cutting some people off, it's like, I don't know, you know, when it comes to friends and things like that, sometimes you back away from them and you sort of, in your head, you're thinking, yeah, they're gonna come out, they're gonna come forward, and they're gonna, you know, they're gonna message you, check up on you, and sometimes they don't, and it's like you say, that's okay, but it can sometimes be, it can be a bit sad. I mean, it's like you sort of accept it, but it's like a sad acceptance. It's like, okay, this person didn't really care as much as I thought they did, you know.
No, that's it. I mean, I talk about it a little bit on this album, to be honest. Like, when I say you know, that I took, I think it's in No More Sleeping on Me, I say a nigga took some time repeating lines and affirmations. Like, that's literally like just to remind myself of exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like, there's no two ways about it. I think if you rely on other people's affirmations to, you know, motivate you and supply you with that need or drive to do what you love, then you clearly don't love what you're doing. That's sort of how I felt about it. And that's yeah, No More Sleeping on Me that's kind of why I wrote that track. It's like I kind of thought to myself, right, put my foot down. I'm done listening to people not put respect to my name at this point. Like, if this album doesn't impress you now, then I don't know what will, because nobody's putting this amount of substance. And if you don't want to rate it, you don't want to rate it. That's okay. But at the end of the day, you can't. Put it this way: after this album, there's nobody who can tell me I can't do it. Basically, like what I've put on there, I haven't delivered you just like separate verses. I haven't delivered you just like music. At the end of the day, I've delivered you a pure like artistry at this point. That's how I viewed it. This is me like trying to show you the artistry and also like deliver this narrative and, you know, talk about a lot of things that meant a lot to me. It's the most personal thing I've done.
Yeah, I think there's only you know, even listening to it, again, I can't really comment on, say, rock or some of the other genres of music that have come out in the Welsh scene. But I think that obviously I'm biased towards my own project. I like my own project, but there's like a tier, like a top tier, I'd say.
Well, I love your project.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, I love Middle Times. That's another personal project, and I feel like, you know, I could like you know, when I go to a show or something, I could give this CD to anyone and be like, yo, you can't say that this is bad. I feel the same way with your project. I don't think anyone can sort of listen to it and be like, objectively speaking, this is bad. It's like, I think the only other artists that have done projects like that from Wales this year, like full on, you know, like projects, I'd say Mace the Great, his EP, My Side of the Bridge.
That is a solid piece of work, man. Like, I can't lie to you, that A Boogie is on repeat in my house, bro. I can't lie to you. It's a hard
deep,
EP. So good.
Is it Deep, the garage one?
It's so good, though.
Yes, Mace. I hope Mace finds his way to listen to this. But yeah, that's an incredible project. And The Honest Poet as well. The Honest Poets project, I've really enjoyed. I thought that when it
Jamie is. Oh man, he is. I can't lie to you. This guy is gonna go places, man. He's doing things. I don't know. I don't even know if I should be talking about it. But Jamie's like, put it this way, the way he thinks and the direction he's trying to go in right now, if he doesn't make it in the next 3 or 4 years, I'd be very surprised.
Yeah,
very surprised.
He's an incredibly talented guy. Obviously you're on Red Lights, which is a bop anyway, but it's like,
love that track.
The guy's got it down. He's got that pop sound. I think that's what it is. He's got an ear for melodies as well. Like probably my favourite track off that project is the one he had with I call it's Elise is her artist name. I know it's Talia because she's my mate. You know, that's the homegirl. Like, you know, she's on the project. She's on my EP and everything. And I produced an EP for her. That's
wow.
Yeah, that's an amazing project. And the thing about Elise as well is if have you got a song with her or not? I'm gonna say
no.
I think that would be great if you two did a song at some point. But yeah, no, I'll have to speak to her.
Yeah, we'll have to make it happen. Definitely. I mean, I'm trying to collaborate with more people. This is my last solo project, to be honest. I can't keep putting out my own tracks, bro. I'm getting tired of my voice. So yeah, I'm gonna start working with people. The idea is now that I've released, when this is how I would have released it. Now that I've released The Glorious Life of Being Misunderstood, I'm gonna release a remix album of it. So every track will get a new feature. It'll be the same track from me, same verses from me. I'm not gonna touch it again with my stuff, I can't lie. But somebody will be added to each track, and I'm just gonna scout the scene, see who's good and see who fits, and then slowly and surely I'll be releasing I think 3 or 4 singles, and then just drop the entire project. Yeah, no, that'd be sick. But yeah,
when Elise records, basically she just like freestyles everything.
Wow.
It is literally, and this is like, I remember we did a track, and there was a guy from what are they called now? House of Pharaohs. Ashley.
Give me 2 seconds, bro. One second.
Cool.
Yeah,
go ahead. He was from House of Pharaohs. This guy Ashley. I'm not sure if he's part of the group anymore, but anyway, he was there, and we had this beat I'd made, and you know, Elise just goes up to the mic, and she literally just did like 4 takes of vocals, just like off the top, and then I had to compile them in the end, but it's literally insane. Like, I'm not sure what your writing process is. I mean, you got the lyrics down in front of you, so I take you like type them or write them out. Is that correct?
Yeah. So what I like to do is I like having the instrumental ready. Always have the instrumental ready. I'm playing, and I like to feel it basically. Like, I want the beat to. The way I like to like really make my music is always think of the beat first, because that's what people will feel. At the end of the day, your bars could be the hardest thing ever, or they could be the weakest thing ever. Like, people don't care as long as it's a good rhythm these days, and I make sure that's taken care of first, pretty much. But then after that, it's listening to the beat and getting a feel for what kind of thing, what emotions like it brings out of me, what it makes me feel like. If I'm like bopping my head and going like dancing around the room, then I know it's an upbeat track, and you know, I'm not going to be spraying dark things on there, so yeah, leave it off. But then, you know, this album especially, this one is all about like bass, to be honest, because the album is centered centered around the Black identity and what it means to be Black. Ultimately, to understand, you've got to be at the very bottom of the social chain in society, of everything. You've got to be at the bottom of like how people treat you financially, economically, you know, housing, all that kind of stuff. So bass is important. That's the bottom line. And throughout the entire album, you'll pick up how much bass is in it and how much it distorts sometimes. Distortion is important. You want to kind of, again, it's just storytelling. It's the most important part. It's being able to give a narrative without giving a narrative sometimes, and you'll pick up on it. You know, some songs will give you an emotion that you don't really like. Some of them will, you know, kind of make you feel angry, you know, empowered. You know, either way, what I've tried to do is write new, sort of like new, I don't know, not new punchlines, but like a new way of doing punchlines. It's no longer about the punchline. It's actually like factual shit in it. Like when the bar lands, you think about it and you go, ah, shit, okay, to be fair, that's pretty true. So I think the best way to look at it is actually unapologetic, because that first verse, like I said, was a pre-written one. But that one was like, that verse, I wrote that for no justice, no peace. And when I wrote No Justice, No Peace, that was literally me just pacing up my hallway, pacing up and down, and just spraying bar after bar and writing down the really good ones, basically. I'll just freestyle over the beat a billion times. And I'll just pick out the really nice things I said. I'll repeat them. I'll go, oh, okay, yeah, that's good. Jay-Z once said, if you want to learn anything, commit it to memory. You've got to actually repeat it 18 times out loud, and your brain will remember it forever. So, yeah, I do that all the time. I spray my verse 18 times and it's in my mind, and I'll remember it forever. And yeah, so when it came to recording that, as soon as I could hear the beat and hear the tempo, I just knew it was like, welcome to a world divided, blue and black, two worlds and cultures collided. It's all about wordplay as well, intricate rhymes. I'm not all about A-B, or A-B-B-A, whatever it is. Like, it's sometimes like rhyming in the middle of a sentence. I'm an English grad, first and foremost. Got my degree before I became a rapper, right? And the first thing I did was I sat down and I just wanted to learn more about language and how it breaks down and how you could use like syllables to do really smart things, and enjambment, which is like just running on with a line into the next line. So it's like in unapologetic, I say seeking a better chance, or trying to find an answer for exactly why this is happening. So that's an entire sentence, but it's broken down in a way that it's like bars. And yeah, that one was like, once I learned that, oh bro, I can't lie to you, I felt unstoppable. I felt like I was on my god tier shit. Like, writing became so much easier. Like, I could I didn't have to think of rhyming that last word anymore. I was like, what rhymes in the middle of the damn sentence? That's pretty cool. But yeah, that's my writing process these days. It's just beat first, listen to the beat a billion times, freestyle, write down the lyrics that I like, and then record it. Basically, I like to try and get one take. That's my goal, because if I can get one take, that first take is always the one with the most emotion. If not, then I'll only really go for 2 takes before I'll move on to the next verse, because that second take is a revenge for not getting the first take right. So I'm angrier on the second take. I've got more emotion into this one now. So yeah, you'll hear it all across the album. Some verses are like really tame, and then later on in the song, it's just like me just like going ham into it, and it's like, why? That's why. It's the second take.
Second take, yeah.
Yeah,
man, yeah.
Don't like it. Not good.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
How do you write?
I tend to, I mean, I can write in different ways, but I've found recently when I'm making beats, I'll be like halfway through a beat and then I start thinking of something to write down, like I'll be mumbling a chorus or something. Like when I did like Linomo.
Ooh, yeah, chorus, the hook is so important.
Yeah, and then I'm there, I'm just like, I've got like the piano sample, I'm doing like the drums, I've got the grooves, the grooves going. I've been listening to loads of Voodoo by D'Angelo when I made this, so I've got all the grooves going. So it's like, and I sort of had this sort of groove going. I mean, the other project I was listening to loads, like Water for Chocolate, Common, and a lot of Slum Village. So I had sort of all that sort of in the back of my mind when I made that track, and my next track as well, which is called Sunshine. There's like those 2 songs. I just had all of that sort of vibes. So I just like halfway through the song, and I'm like, damn, I've got to record this down already. So I've got like the project file. You can see I've got like all the bits of the beat together, and I've also got like the sort of vocal sort of take, like the me mumbling the thing. But
reference track. That's all it is. Yeah, reference track.
References.
Good. So good. It's a smart way of writing, to be honest, because once you've got the melody down, like fitting words to that melody is a lot easier. That's a really smart way. Do you freestyle at all?
Oh yeah, man, I love freestyle. Yeah.
I love a good freestyle.
We're gonna go check on a beat and go off the top now, but yeah, it'd be
you know what I'm saying?
For all the viewers. Nah, I used to do a thing called Freestyle Fridays on my Instagram actually, with a guy called KJ, Mike Force KJ is his name on Instagram. Shout out to him. And we used to put on during like lockdown. We put on like beats, and then I freestyle for a bit, then he freestyle for a bit. We got a fair few people on. To be fair, people like they get really impressed by it. I was down at a Larynx entertainment thing recently. And it was interesting because there was 6 of us there, and it was like an under 21s thing. You know, I'm 21, I'm still a baby, like, you know. And but yeah, every time I tell someone I was born in 2000, they're like, boo. But anyway, I'm there, and yeah, I don't think any of them could really. I think Vision, man like Vision, I mean, props to him, he's hella talented. You know, 17
Vision,
as well,
one
so
talented kid, man. He is going to be so good when he's older. Trust me.
He's
Trust me.
bloody brilliant now anyway, but he can do a little bit of freestyling. But I was the only one who's like confident enough just to, you know, we all did our like verses for the cypher, and I just started freestyling then. I'm just picking out things in the around me and all this stuff, and everybody loved that, to be fair. But yeah, it's like second nature to me now.
Good on you, man. Good on you. That's the thing. Like, once you get into like writing songs every day and writing verses every day, like, it becomes easier and easier and easier, because then you start realizing that, oh, hang on a second, that sentence that I wrote for that verse that I didn't use about 10 years ago fits into this verse that I'm using now. Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's this album is a bit weird because I like to use my reserve verses a lot. I rely on them a bit too heavy, if I'm honest, but I like to use them because if I don't use them, they just sat there gathering dust, and I don't want to think that I wasted all that time perfecting this.
Too many doing that.
You've got to do it. You've got to use them at some point. So for this album, at one point when I thought I'd finished the album, right, I recorded everything. I put up on my Instagram. I'm going to release it really soon. And then I listened back and it's like, you know what? These are all old verses. I'm kind of bored of hearing them. Even though nobody's heard them for the first time yet, like, I'm bored of it. I don't want to be bored listening to my own music. That's not good. So I just wrote new verses, new hooks, new songs. Like, I put the post up for the cover 2-3 days ago, and I think it was 3 days ago. And yeah, at that point, I had about 4 songs done.
Yeah.
Damn. And I was like, yeah, this is dropping next week. Cop it. It's going to be ready, I promise. So yeah, and then the next day I was like, I had gotten 6 songs done, but none of them were like mixed or mastered. They were just recorded and they sounded okay-ish. Yeah. Not good enough. Yesterday was the worst day, to be honest, because I listened back to everything. Yesterday being 22nd of July for those listening, but yeah, it was like the worst, like, I don't know, I just listened to it, I just didn't like it. And I was like, I gotta re-record every verse, every hook, mix and master it right there and then, you know, clean it real nice, make sure it's treated. And I don't know how I managed to, because I had to go to Cardiff as well. I was in Cardiff, like, I left Carmarthen at 7 a.m. in the morning, obviously. And I came back, I think, about 1 in the afternoon. And then from 1 all the way until like 1 in the morning, 12 hours solid from then, I just worked on the album just to get it done and pushed out. And then, yeah, I pushed it out last night, and I don't know, I listened back to it and I went, do you know what? If I don't like my album, I'll be very, very surprised, basically. Listen back to it, because recording it, I felt good. Yeah. Listen back to it, and I was like, do you know what? This might be my favorite album, and that might be the most cocky thing anybody could ever hear right now, but yeah, it might just be my favorite album. You gotta love what, like, if you're not your biggest fan, what are you doing at the end of the day? You've got to love everything you're doing and everything that you create to the point that you are able to invest in it, if that makes sense. It's not good if you don't love it. So yeah, I love my album, and especially I think because it hits on all the points that I've always wanted to hit on. I've never had the chance to talk about like race. Really, I don't like talking about it because it makes a lot of my friends, who are all obviously predominantly white, uncomfortable. And well, that's what I believed anyway. But you know, by making music and by putting this kind of stuff out, they've all kind of, you know, opened up to me a bit more about it, and it's nice hearing it and talking about it, because I never thought I could. And that's on me, obviously, for thinking that, but at the same time, it's not my fault for being in an environment that made me think that, if that makes sense.
I get that.
So yeah, I mean, I'm trying to make a documentary at the moment for it.
That'd be sick. Yeah,
which is going to be cool. It's not going to be a massive documentary. It's just going to be like a little 14-minute video, maybe 15. And yeah, it's just going to be following just how I made the album a bit, how I wrote the verses, how I recorded some of the hooks, the harmonies, talking about why this album is important, as well as like in between that, music videos as well. Yeah, because at the moment all my music videos have been alone, and the whole point of it is like every location you see me in is sort of like a location I've had to leave, kind of thing so far. You haven't seen me yet in a location where I'm home or where it feels good for me to be in, which is why I'm constantly in a different location. So in The Glorious Life of Being Misunderstood, that's kind of going to be the theme of the videos too. It's like sort of leading to nowhere kind of thing. That's essentially what's been going on for a longest time in terms of social justice, but also, you know, what's going on for me personally too. So I just wanted to explore that visually and do a documentary, and this, you know, us talking about it, little screen captures of, you know, the video, and even us talking in DMs, you know, will be involved in it too. This is all part of it. It's spreading the knowledge, it's spreading the word about the album, talking about it a bit, and just talking about being an artist and what it's like to record this stuff and not get funding sometimes, get funding occasionally, get opportunities occasionally, and definitely as well like what the scene is like on a whole. Because, you know, with the platform that I've got at the moment, this would be a great time to usually, you know, use this podcast and elevate you as well, and what you're doing.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah.
That's no problem, man. I have to do it. At the end of the, like I said, I love your project. You know, solo is, I love solo, and yeah.
This is the thing though. Do you prefer the remix or the original?
The original.
Yeah. It's kind of strange. The remix was the original version, funny enough. But there was actually an alternate verse from Noah Bishard as well. I love Noah. He's sick lad he is as well. And like he's got a new single coming out soon, I swear. It might actually be on the 30th. It might be the day after this comes out. So but yeah, and like it by itself the song works, but in the context of the EP, I felt like, I don't know, it just energy-wise was slightly different. So I thought, cool, I'm going to record another verse. I recorded another verse, and I thought it fitted a bit better. But I'm like, I'm not going to waste this version. You know, we'll do a video for this version. You know, ironically, Solo is the only music video I have somebody else in it. All my other music videos are just me. So it's, but it's good, man. It's good. Thank you.
Nice. It's nice that you're in the same boat. I'm glad you're in the same boat with me there, because I've been thinking, is this a bit too egotistical that it's only been me in these videos? But I'm glad you're in that boat too. But yeah, I mean, obviously I said I want to do a remix of The Glorious Life of Being Misunderstood. I'd absolutely love for you to be on there. It'd be great.
A couple of tracks I listened to, I was thinking I could do these, but
easily. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think, you know, songs like No More Sleeping on Me, that one, for example, I feel like you're in the same boat in what I'm thinking there. Like there's definitely there's a point in your time basically as a rapper where you've released so much and you've had so little that you kind of turn around and go, hang on a second, now I know I've been doing things maybe not right in your eyes, but I've definitely been doing things my way. And even though you don't like it, you could have still, you know, passed that on to someone, you know, who would have, and you didn't. And yeah, like I said, I've never had a town yet that supported me for my music. I've never have. ABBA Uni was great because I met a lot of people who supported me and loved what I was doing, loved what I was creating. But ultimately, like, there's just too many like personal relationships with people. Do you know what I'm saying? Like drama and like politics and stuff like that get involved into it, and it becomes a bit difficult to have that relationship with that person. But you know, moving past that, like now they do support me to some extent, you know, and it's nice, but it's not always in the most beneficial way. Like, do they like a post? Yeah, they like a post, and that does help me because, you know, it might pop up on their friends' stuff now that they've liked it. You know, do they say good luck when I'm going to something? Yeah, sometimes, but ultimately it's like, I don't know, it's sort of like, to me, you can't pick and choose when you want to be a friend. If you're going to be my friend kind of thing, because I'll be a good friend to you. Yeah. But if you're going to pick and choose when is the important time, when's the right time for you to like support me, then, you know, I don't really want to invest in that relationship. So yeah, Aberystwyth University was like that. Cumbrana's a bit different because I'm not originally from Wales. I was born in Zimbabwe. I left when I was 5, 6 years old, moved to London, lived there for a few months, moved to Northampton, lived there for a year, moved to Bristol, lived there for a year, and then came to Wales. So I've only been in Wales for like, I think maybe 16 years, 15 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not even 16 years. It's probably like 12 actually when I think about it. Yeah,
still
12
a while.
years.
Like I said, I've only been here for
it's quite a long time.
So it's still quite.
Yeah, it is. It is quite a long time.
My mum's from Swansea though, so technically I am Welsh. That's for anybody who's listening right now.
Hang on, were you tweeting this coming home?
Oh, I don't think that was.
Oh yeah, caught in 4K, mate. Caught in 4K.
No, that's a funny one with the whole the football shenanigans.
For anyone listening, Charlie is a plastic Welsh fan. All right, you've heard it live and direct.
One of my mates, she got me onto the whole Flying Cumbria Welsh Independence, bro. I got onto all that, mate. I got the Yes Cumbria. That's it. No. I need the stickers on the wall, don't I?
Watch this now. He's gonna edit this entire interview to cut this out.
Nah,
he's deleting the tweets and everything tonight. I know it.
It's just like Charlie J exposed he's actually English, but nah, man. Yeah, nah. I wrote a verse today, funny enough, and it was if I mention Brizzy, people might think I mean Bristol, but I mean Brisbane because like I was born in Brisbane in Australia as well. So
of course. Yeah. I mean, I think what'll be great is if we could link up on a track where we both like talk about coming from like a country that isn't Britain and sort of like having to live in Wales, even though it's like I don't know if you feel this way, but it's like Wales almost isn't a part of Britain and everyone treats it like that. It's really strange. Really strange. Yeah. It's crazy. Which ultimately, like, would I want Wales to be away from Britain? Of course I would. I don't want Wales to be in Britain, but I want I don't know. I just love for people to look at the Welsh scene perhaps as just as important as the English, you know? People like yourself, people like, you know, Mace the Great, Lloydie Lou, G-Man, all these people on the scene, like, they're young, they're hungry, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're all going for the same thing, but ultimately, like, we're all doing pretty well, and we're still not getting the clout we deserve. And it's interesting because I got about, when was that? I think it's funny. Yeah, literally 2 or 3 days before the police thing happened, I got a call from the Rap Game UK, BBC show. Yeah. And they called me up and they said, look, like, we don't have many people to represent Wales. Would you be interested? And I was like, yeah, fucking right, I would. So that'd be pretty sick, be the first person to represent Wales on the show. And I went through the whole rigmarole of doing a few challenges for them and, you know, jumping on Skype with, you know, producers and stuff. And yeah, like, ultimately I didn't get chosen because they scouted me extremely late in the stage. Like, they were literally picking the people, like maybe a day after I'd gotten that call. So, like, those positions were filled up already. They were just having a conversation with me at that point just to make sure that they weren't missing out on anything. Yeah. Right. Which is fair for me. Like, ultimately, I don't feel like them saying no was them feeling like saying I was going to be missed out, because it's weird. They said to me in the interview, they're like, one thing, like, don't get disheartened if you don't get chosen for this, because what you do is exceptional, and, like, you know, we've listened to your stuff and we love it. It's like, he said, if anything, it should make you think about who's watching you right now. And that was like, that took me aback a bit. I was like, damn, right, okay, what does that mean? And then the girl who scouted me, Alicia, she was incredible. She called me up after that to let me know. And she said, she was like, we'd like to keep your stuff, basically your profile, with us, just in case we have any other shows that might be suitable for you, kind of thing. Now, I went onto their production company, bro, and I looked everything up. There was not a single other, like, show like the Rap Game. To me, that's just saying to me, if the Rap Game opens up again next year, if they're renewed for another season, they'll call me back up, which is great. I mean, it's a bit of a weird one, because that alone was more support than I've had really from the Welsh scene in terms of like feeling recognized, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like to get a call from a production company saying they like Crept and Conan like are looking for people and you might be like the person to represent Wales. Ultimately, to me, that's like if even if I'm not getting the clout that I deserve, what does that say about the country I'm in? You know? Like you were saying earlier on in this, there's some people on the scene that, you know, get a bit too much recognition for the wrong reasons, and I agree with you. And it's weird because, you know, I've never heard them talk about this kind of opportunity come up for them. And I don't know if that's because they went for it and they were just told no from the get-go, or whether that's because they're humble and they don't want to tell everyone and they're being nice about it, or just that they haven't had the opportunity. But all I know is I had that opportunity. Do you know what I'm saying? And it kind of solidifies in my mind that I do belong here. Like there's no one who can tell me different, and I don't want to do different. And this album is sort of like the last album I'll do now where I'm essentially just laying things out nice and neat for everyone. The next albums are just gonna be hectic, like there's mad people on there and big songs, big anthems. I don't want to keep doing personal stuff because I want to leave that for things that are actually like important to me and mean a lot to me.
100%.
I want to move on to like actually making music that people will be able to dance to and enjoy and have good times with, not just sit there and go, shit, that was pretty woke. I just want to try this new thing in life called change. It's weird. Don't know if you've heard about it. It's this really strange thing, but especially as like you said, you messaged me and you said about the singing, like that, for example. That's something I want to start doing more. I don't want to just stay on rap. You know, I was a singer first at the end of the day, and that's what I want to keep doing.
Yeah, man, nice one though. But for everyone else who's listening, before we start talking about the next project, make sure, because we'll wrap it up now, but make sure you go and check out the project that's out now. So I keep forgetting the title.
The Glorious Life of Being Misunderstood.
The Glorious Life of Being Misunderstood. There's going to be some shortened version of that. I'm sure it should be like.
I usually call it TG album.
TG album, yeah, The Glorious Life of Being Misunderstood. So that is actually on streaming services all right now. So SZWÉ, so SZWÉ with the accent, isn't it? But yeah, make sure you check that out. And it's been great speaking to you as well.
Thank you, mate. It's been great speaking to you. Honestly, like I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I feel like I can't lie to you. I've done a couple of like podcast recordings and like I've done a couple of like little chats about music and stuff. But this is like the first one where I just feel like I'm literally just chatting to my mate and that's it. Like we're just having a catch up. And it's been great.
It's good, man. Yeah, bless. So probably leave that there. But thank you to everyone for listening.